G'day guys, welcome to this week's weekly developer update. I'm CW and joining me we have Armeanio. How are you, mate?
Doing good. Happy to be back.
It's been a long time. I feel like I haven't seen you in a fair amount of time. Been a couple of weeks, but yeah, it's good to have you back here and reading through the developer updates.
Yeah, you're a champ swimming through these solo. I used to do that. It's not always easy. Stare and talk to the camera in a blank room, man. That's suffering.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure you're in the same boat as well. I'll have to release some off-takes or outtakes of when you stuff up and doing intros and all kinds of things, because it's not as easy as what it seems doing things like this. And there's it's pretty funny some of the times you react and things on stuffing things up. So it's it'd be a good laugh.
Well, I'm happy to be back. We had a good week. The ErgoHack, I was probably the slowest judge. Apologize to everybody out there that was excited and on their seat. It's hard to have 12 projects and try to rank them. It's something that I shuffled them quite a bit, going through and watching videos and going through different submissions. This is a bit of a bear. That's hard.
Yeah, I don't envy the judges whatsoever. There's such a varied amount of projects in their scope and what they actually delivered. And it's kind of why we went down that ranking style of judging, because it's very often difficult to compare apples to oranges to grapes to pears sort of thing. It's a tough situation. Once again, I don't envy the judges and trying to sort of decipher the submissions, the proposals, all that sort of stuff. So I think a big thank you to all the judges for going through that, but also all the participants. There's been a pretty comprehensive hackathon.
Yeah. So do we want to go through the winners? Yeah,
sure. Mentioned in the AMAs, but kicking things off, we had the first prize winner was Ergo Tizen. Do you want to give a little bit of a rundown of what they sort of completed?
Sure. So one thing for everybody to keep in mind is this ErgoHack was cypherpunk finance, right?
Yep.
And one thing that is kind of inherent in the culture of blockchain is the ability to run a node, right? Because if you want to kill a decentralized network, you basically need to stop mining it and kill all the nodes, right? If one node survives, you have the ability to rebootstrap the network from basically where blocks, paused, right?
Yep.
And that's always been one of the cool things about Bitcoin when it first came out is, a lot of people that didn't understand the technology was looking at this and they're like, how do we stop it?
Yep.
And it's like, you can't. That's you have thousands of nodes all around the planet. It's somewhat asynchronous anyway, where some of them go online, come off, depending on people, their devices, how often they're running it. And so having the ability to run a node, in multiple devices is it just hardens the network. It just became that much harder to kill, right?
Yeah.
So that particular project was a path to running a full node on a smart TV, right?
Yep.
And who knows, as technology advances, maybe we'll get the smart fridge, the smart toaster, the smart thermostat, whatever, and be able to seed our nodes everywhere. And at which point, have fun killing Ergo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a powerful thing. I know that kind of the crypto space is, I'm just going to say, kind of like commercialized a lot to where a lot of people don't run infrastructure anymore, which is sad. But having that spirit is in my opinion critical to kind of the core ethos of blockchain, which is being unstoppable.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you touched on, just running a full node just aids in the security and then the resilience of the network as a whole. Bootstrapping from basically one node, you can spin up a network once again, and having having the ability to run Node on small, simple, cheap sort of devices, or TVs aren't sort of cheap, but utilizing something that's in a standby mode and things like that. But then also looking at mobile phones, for instance, we've seen a Node sort of project spin up on the Ergo network, and like phones have come a long way with their processing power and things like that. But being able to spin up a full node with the storage and everything like that on a mobile device, anyone can pick them up now for $100-$200 sort of for a reasonably sort of entry smartphone. Yeah, that's pretty crazy to be able to interact with these systems.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. You can go to Walmart, here in the US, buy a burner, run a node on it, run the light wallet on your phone that references the node. Like, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do for relatively low cost.
Yep. All right, so moving on, second place we had Sigma with their options. Once again, on that DeFi sort of side, this whole cypherpunk concepts, having option contracts, it's a different layer of like DeFi. Do you want to give a bit of a rundown of what a sort of option is?
Sure. So, usually an option contract is a form of, most people use it as a hedging mechanism, right? Where, they have, basically they'll cover the downside or the upside depending on their trade, and they'll use a option contract to kind of have leverage to, extend their coverage, with lower input costs. Now, we have weird markets in present modern day reality, where some people will say that the tail wags the dog, right? Where a lot of the times when you look at massive movements, and even in the crypto industry, there's a lot of money, on like the derivative side, where Bitcoin will suddenly flash crash because someone got liquidated, and so secondary markets have a tendency to move primary markets. It's become more and more popular. So you can use options as a kind of a sophisticated hedging mechanism, or you can go full degen, right? There's a lot of options there, but it does give you users like flexibility over how they choose to allocate their portfolio, right? And so for some people, they'll go leverage, right? They'll, welcome to the casino, all in red, right? And then you'll have other people that are saying, okay, well, I want to hedge to, my downside risk because, whatever. Managing risk is important, and that can be a powerful tool to do that. One of the unique things about Sigma is that the contracts are P2P, right? I don't think that people fully appreciate not having like some global contract somewhere that everybody has to go and participate with. So that's powerful. It's P2P DeFi, but we're getting more complex derivatives over time, and that's great to see because it is a more mature financial product. Unless you're going degen, in which case, all that power kind of flips, but difference altogether.
Exactly. And then finally, coming in at third place, we have Lithos with their collateralized mining pool set up. Do you want to just give a bit of a rundown quickly on what the Lithos boys are doing?
Sure. So we've always, or the Ergo culture came from this idea of solo mining, right? And one thing that solo mining does is it forces everyone to kind of mine to their own node, and it really does amazing in terms of network distribution. That unfortunately got exploited. So now we have mining pools, which are not always the most honest and transparent entities. Let's just say that. So then we kind of evolved into GitBlock. They came with some great ideas. I think maybe it was maybe before its time even.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the ideas that they had, where you could launch tokens via work and have subpooling and all kinds of really neat stuff. You know, that team is part of what contributed to Lithos, and their goal is to try to mine on chain, right?
Yeah.
It's actually not Ergo specific. It's just a matter of mining in a transparent environment and creating up very unique DeFi primitives for mining, right? You know, we are proof of work, and miners are the initial liquidity providers in a proof of work network. And, you know, having the ability to extend profits, I think, is critical. You know, otherwise it's just hoping that, quote unquote, like the numbers go up, right? You know, and having utility to where you can take, you know, your input costs and you can work within a market to extend that and extend your profit is powerful. So looking at like the long-term vision of Lithos, that could disrupt Stratum, and Stratum is a core pillar to proof of work. So yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, very big. The mentality behind it as well. It's just about decentralization and empowering the miners through transparency and basically not needing to trust a centralized entity, having everything verifiable, everything on chain. I think that's pretty amazing.
There's a lot of nonsense in crypto, man, where it's like you're mining to a mining pool that you know, you're mining to let's say a black box, and there are some miners out there that, you know, then they're mining to an exchange, which is another black box.
Yeah.
You know, so like on both sides, you know, in a way, not so decentralized. But is what it is.
Little disclaimer out there: if you're mining Ergo and you're using an exchange wallet, please don't do so, because it just becomes pretty dusty on the exchange side. Just mine to your own wallet, consolidate your boxes, and then if you want to liquidate or whatever you want to do, then exchange to a centralized exchange, because transaction fees, if you're coming from the Ethereum network, there's gasless model here, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, and one benefit of having, you know, DeFi tools that are available to miners is I think it creates a greater incentive for them to self-custody their mining rewards versus just mine straight to another black box.
Yep, most definitely. So it's exciting times ahead, just from those three projects. But looking down the list, the amount of contributions and participants that we had this ErgoHack, yeah, once again, hard to judge, but thank you to everyone who participated. Pretty comprehensive ErgoHack this time. So I can't wait to see what happens in ErgoHack 7.
Yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of projects out there that I could sit back and kind of play out, like, oh, you know, what is the potential here?
Yeah,
it's big.
Yeah,
and that's amazing to see. So, you know, hats off to everybody out there that contributed, and hopefully they show up for the next one.
Yeah, and excited to watch the evolution of their projects as well throughout time here on Ergo, and just building out their proof of concept, their MVP or whatever else, even if it's just a paper, like a proof of concept sort of thing. Be interesting and really excited to see all that sort of play out as well.
Yeah, I've actually still got to make the video for mine. It's sad, but yeah, I'll get it done.
Get in front of the camera, mate, by yourself. Not that hard.
Suffering. I don't like that at all. But
all right, well, let's jump into this week's developer update.
All right, who's kicking it off this week?
What do we have? We have Gambit. So he's working on adding Plinko to the site as announced on Twitter. It's going pretty good so far. It's a popular game amongst crypto casino streamers.
It's like a right game from back in the day. Bob Barker.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that dude's still alive, to be honest. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, when I saw this pop up in my Twitter feed, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I have to can't wait to see that one get implemented. be interesting to see it play out, and might have to be a little bit, go into my degen side and have a bit of a play on that one.
All right, next it looks like Pulsarz is out of baseless and has created a new project named ErgoMonitor. So what ErgoMonitor does is it posts large central exchange transactions, large SigUSD minting redeeming activity, Ergo treasury activity, and Bearwell activity to Twitter on the ErgoMonitor account. So those of you that are on the Bluebird Asylum, follow at ErgoMonitor. It looks like this same data is also available in the Ergo Whale Alert Telegram group. There's also a Telegram bot available at ErgoMonitor_bot. This has cha-ching-like functionality in that you can register an address, and whenever activity happens, you can get instant notification. And there's current integrations to track Rosen Bridge transactions, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was. Maybe in our Telegram group, it posted a screenshot of a Rosen transaction. That's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, especially once that bridge goes live, having like the real-time update just as an extra little watcher on the network, right?
Yeah. So following on, we have Luivatra and the Paideia MVP alpha testing. So first up, they deployed the Paideia alpha version and broke a bunch of Postgres databases in the process due to the large size of the staking contract. So he said sorry about that. Tested the usual staking actions, so create a stake, add stake, unstake, emit, and compound. Tested profit sharing. Tested syncing of the off-chain AVL trees with the on-chain data. And just remaining to be tested, there is the create a proposal, voting, and perform actions. So send funds from the treasury or update the DAO config. And that is after a passed proposal. So currently having an issue when trying to sign the create proposal transaction. Something seems to go wrong when deserializing a cold box register in Sigma Rust. And on the Paideia MVP beta test, there's no big issues that have come up during alpha so far. So a few weeks should be enough to get the code into a beta shape. I like what you've done there, mate. Most notable work to be done is splitting up the staking contract into smaller modules. And all in all, he thinks it's all going well, as he could have hoped. So fixing plenty of bugs along the way, but nothing too big, which is good to see.
All right. Looks like next we have greenhat. It looks like he's finished revamping the node wallet scan management to minimize wallet rescans. I dropped a GitHub link for the Oracle Core update there. Use only token IDs and scan, so no need for contract or register values. Remove scan for own Oracle and ballot boxes. Filter from general scans. Deregister all scans on import pool update command. The register new scans only on run command to avoid registering due to missing data and other commands. Added generic token scan to represent a wallet scan for the given token ID. The node registry scan for persistent storage and deregister with the node. Next, fix the release pipeline and release version 2.0.0-beta 8. And then test the new governance with simplified voting and the gold erg pool on testnet.
Yep, nice. Just ticking along nicely there for the Oracle side. And next up, we have Kushti. And on the reference client and the core protocol side, the first round of storage rent distribution ERPs under review. I think that's 43 from memory. Node version 5.0.8 has been released. He's made a couple of updates on the links, and then some Sigma interpreter review. On to Dexy, updated contracts for the Oracle rate has been considered. So nano erg per kilo of gold. Found an issue in tracking contract. So the wrong tests and likely contract. So it's working on that. Started some off-chain code for updating the tracking boxes and provided a server and domain for backend deployment. And then on to other matters, reviewed new contracts by the Big Cheese for SigmaFi, where a lender may create an offer for a borrower to issue a bond, and made a forum post for on-chain signature verification on Schnorr signatures. So I encourage everyone to jump on there and give that a quick read as well.
All right. Looks like next we have Morphic on Sigma side. He reviewed EIP5 implementation. Looks like for Ergo, he's reviewed the bootstrapping PR and reviewed EIP 42, the multi-sig wallet. Miscellaneous. There was actually a really nice article that dropped on Hacker Noon that Morphic put together. Yep. I guess that was not this one, though, because it looks like this one is how to optimize Scala code with almost no effort. The one I was referencing was regarding Sigma protocols, but both of those are worth your time. So those of you out there that enjoy reading up, nice in-depth content on both. So then the reviewed EIP 45, the redistribution contracts. Up next is to publish the new article, which I guess I just talked about, and address the review comments in Sigma PR.
Yeah. Just on those articles as well, very well written. And the explanations, the in-depth or the depth of how deep Morphic goes into explaining the concepts. I encourage everyone to get on there because it explains the concept on a really normie sort of level as well. So I dare say a lot of people will be able to understand what it is and everything like that. It's very, very in-depth discussions, and then even with examples, explaining the examples, everything like that. It's very, very well written. Okay, moving on, we have C8. Much easier to say the name. And they're Bitmasks. So they're running some off-chain breeding simulations and preparing to launch the breeding this month for the Bitmasks themselves.
All right, and then we get into the Rosen Bridge update. So regarding the public beta test, after successful airdrop for Ergonaut members, we track the system to make sure everything goes well. Other than some front-end minor issues, Rosen worked as expected. Only one transaction is rejected by the guards, and we found the cause. They're going to patch that. The bridge is available to Ergonauts with test tokens and real Erg ADA. However, to the public, only with real Erg ADA, so please be careful still. Since we're using test tokens and they do not have any value, transferring on the Cardano side costs us a few ADA. We cannot allow everyone to test these tokens. A user may simply drain the funds allocated for paying transactions fee if the bridge token is worthless. We'll probably add a real token list for the public test. That way, there's not that draining potential. Looks like they're going to enable other features in the UI in the next few days, like bridge assets and transaction history, which I did see was updated. So looks like that's already rolled through.
Nice to see.
So with Rosen, say that again?
Nice to see.
Yeah, nice to see. Rosen clients, we are going to introduce our own client libraries for the Ergo Explorer, Ergo Node, and Koios. More network will be added on demand in the future. We'll use these client libraries mainly in our Rosen chains packages, but the packages are probably useful to anyone using those APIs in their code base. Finished the Ergo Node client and almost finished the Ergo Explorer client, both V0 and V1. The Rosen Bridge CLI, they completed the development of the package. The CLI currently includes only one subcommand, which is used in other Rosen Bridge packages. In the future, probably more subcommands will be added to it. The Rosen Bridge P2P relay added EastLint and Prettier to package and applied it to the whole repo, upgraded the package node to 18.14.0. Rosen Front looks like they fixed minor bugs with big nums and are making minor improvements. Add link to the Explorer after signing transaction. Designed and implemented transactions page using Rosen API. Now we can have all Rosen transactions in the front end. Just tweaking the page a bit and it'll be available soon. So since the beginning of next week, the Rosen team will have a 1 week break. So probably no updates that next week. That's great to see. They've been plugging away for quite a while. So I hope they enjoy their time away from the screen.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of people forget people behind all this sort of infrastructure, they're humans. So being able to sort of switch off and have a break and be able to take some time away and refresh and everything, I think it's very important. That's good to see. Yeah.
Needs some sunshine and a beer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Moving on, we have Captain Nemo, and then on the FleetSDK side, adding a min box value estimation, and also refactoring and preparing to leave the alpha stage. So if anyone has any API change suggestion, now is the time. Then on to Machina Finance, researching on generic off-chain execution framework.
All right, looks like next we have ergcube. Looks like they've added more metrics to the token dashboard. Erg prices, total supply, total in P2PK, and total in contracts.
Plethora of information on ergcube.com. Then also provides a link to check it out. Scrolling down, we have Cheese Enthusiast. And then on the Lithos side, continued work on the Lithos reference client, made additional collateral contracts. Is also looking to make API additions to the Ergo Ref client, and that supports custom coin-based transactions. And then on to SigmaFi. The lender offerings is being reviewed by Kushti, as we mentioned earlier. Working on tokenized bonds and doing some tests with advanced liquidation conditions for simple, so single token collateral.
All right, looks like next we have Flying Pig. Total locked in USD. I know you guys discuss and create complicated contracts, quantum physics, wormholes, and other interesting concepts. Many of you could probably write this in machine code whilst blindfolded, hanging upside down and sipping on a glass of something strong, but you haven't, so here we are. Hope there's room for us amateurs as well. There's always room. Happy to have you, Flying Pig. We were discussing TVL and USD yesterday, and I took it upon myself to put together an Explorer query to do just that. That's awesome. It pulls just over 3,200 contracts, excluding mining emissions contracts. Many of these are Spectrum proxy contracts, where I suspect trading bots have submitted swaps that slipped and they have never refunded. It likely also has a number of multi-sig wallets, Ergo Foundation, etc., but it's a good start. I've added the name of the contract where I know what it is. If someone has a contract address they want to share, let me know. It covers ERG, SigUSD, SPF, Neta, Paideia, ErgoPad, and EGIO. It's easy to add new tokens, which I will do when I get some spare time, or anyone can do it themselves. So it's probably a poorly optimized query, but it works. It takes around 5 minutes to complete. So the query is here. You can also find the CSV of today in the data outputs folder. So everybody that's interested, hop on GitHub and follow Flying Pig 69.
Oh, I love it. Once again, welcome to the ecosystem, and thanks for chucking this together. There will always be room for amateurs, and welcome for all this use and utility. Who knows where this could be implemented?
Yeah.
Okay, scrolling down, we have, how do you pronounce that?
I'm going to say dΣathgripson.
Death Grip Spoon. The contrast, I've got dark screen here, so it's like light or dark grey on a dark grey background. So Ergo Analog, so experimenting with tricks to keep the swaps distinct and with low memory footprint, and also working on automatic contract deployment from the GUI.
All right, who's next? Marty, it looks like.
Yeah, with the NFT Marketplace.
All right, so it looks like they finally managed to get artist address from Token ID, thanks to C8, Quokka, and Anon Real's open source code. Working on implementing Sky Harbor listings, sort and filter works so users can sort by marketplace, sale type, etc. Noob 777777. Maybe I missed the 7, I'm not sure. Tied in mass mint backend with front end form. It allows users to make pack tokens with various customizations, such as rarity probability. This will work for Blitz to sell their card packs. Artists and users can update their profiles by simply signing their wallet.
Nice to see. Look at the UI there as well. It looks pretty simplistic and nice and clean. Scrolling down, Marty just has a little bit of commentary in regards to the creation of the NFT project. It's the MVP, allow anyone to sell some tokens, vesting keys, etc. There's also a mass minter for more packs that's currently sort of been worked on. I think Louis is working on that when he has some spare time. But next up we have Glasgow, and as always, he's a busy little beaver behind the scenes. He's got a chatbot trained on the documentation, as we're trying to add some more sources, so chat logs with GitHub and with GitHub's when you hit his API limit, it works pretty well. But GPT-4 is a little bit pricey to put on a public chatbot, so it's just messing about with the Lang chain and see what he can come up with. Also generated code-based documentation for the reference client using Autodoc. So the generated documentation lives in the code base and travels where your code travels. Developers who download the code can use the doc command to ask questions about the code base and get highly specific answers with reference links back to the code files. In the near future, documentation will be re-indexed as part of the CI pipeline, so it's always up to date. And you can add some more for the Ergo repos. People think it's worthwhile. Also updated the development taiga. So if you want to check that out, it's kind of like a Kanban setup where people can track different tiles and things and see the progress on different things, what people are working on, etc., etc. It's a great resource to be able to organize some things from a project management point of view. Also made some small changes for wallets for now, just changing the wording, the order and positioning on the website. So it's pushed, but it's not yet live.
All right. Looks like next we have MGpai with Lilium. The front end logic is done. Finishing up the UX and error handling, lack of proper text inputs. All backend code Dockerized and deployed, and ErgoPay soon. Nice to see ErgoPay there. And you can try to mint an NFT on testnet. So if you get Nautilus testnet, you can go to the NFT selection at https lilium-fe.vercel.app and enter singleton ID. Oof, I'm not going to burn through that.
Come on, read the ID out.
3B33827030465769690224D19C333 3B7D2DD5 Just copy paste the rest. Ooh.
Good attempt, mate.
Yeah, I tried.
Okay. Yeah. So next up, we just have a link here from Kushti. So it's created a forum post on a contract to buy tokens back from a liquidity pool. So just a little bit of a synopsis here. As a motivating example, let's consider a stablecoin protocol, which is using an Oracle pool to get the reserve asset value to ensure a peg, such as SigUSD or Dexy. The security of the protocol is based on the security of the Oracle pool, and then the latter depends on the Oracle's incentivization. It'd be desirable to redirect part of the fees, etc. If you want to learn more about that, jump on and give that a read as well. And finally, scrolling down, we just have the Morphic's article on HackerMoon, the Sigma protocol one. If you want to read more about that, you can jump onto Morphic's Twitter account. The link's provided here on the Discord or on the Ergo platform Twitter account as well. It's shared there. If you want to know the ins and outs and everything about a Sigma protocol, I recommend everyone to give that a read because it's a very, very in-depth article.
Yeah, great stuff.
All right, mate. Well, I think that sums up the developer update for this week. Good to see that the ErgoHack results are out finally. Sorry for everyone. There's been a bit of a delay, but we got there in the end. Once again, thanks to everyone for contributing and participating for the ErgoHack. Thanks to the Ergo Foundation and ErgoPad for the very generous offerings in the prize pool. Yeah, and once again, it's good to have you back, Joe, and reading through the developer update. Thanks for giving that token ID a crack as well.
My brain, I tried. Yeah, copy paste it. Anybody needs to play with that. It's always great to play around on testnet and give people feedback.
Yep, most definitely. If anything, we all know what the testing does. Try and find bugs, try and break it, try and harden the protocol, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit everyone, every user, etc. like that. So encourage everyone to participate in testing where they can. All right. Thanks very much for everyone tuning in once again for the weekly developer update. And Joe, it's been a pleasure to have you back here and chatting once again. So, yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a pleasure. Have a good one.